This is Nathan Brune, Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization member and a part of the CEO Student Advisory Council. I'm joined here with entrepreneur Stephen Hooper, who will be speaking at the upcoming 2014 CEO National Conference in Florida this October. Stephen, thank you for joining me.
Tell me a little bit about... thank you for having me.
Tell us about network and social.
So network and social, I mean, the concept for network and social really originated in late 2012. It was established based on some of my personal frustrations on some of the networking efforts that I had at the time. You know, the events that I had been attending were more sit-down, tablecloth type events, you know, where I really didn't feel it addressed young entrepreneurs and professionals, you know, and really the way business had been evolving from a technology aspect at the time. I really didn't personally benefit from these type of networking events. You know, and it was around that time that I really became motivated to give professionals a different way to network here in Chicago. Fast forward 2 years, Network and Social has really become the premier face-to-face business and social networking organization in Chicago. We currently reach 100,000 business professionals throughout the country, and will soon be hosting events in Houston, Orlando, Washington, D.C., and obviously here in Chicago. Our events are currently held normally on a monthly basis, you know, and lately we've been getting between 150 to 250 attendees per month, which has been amazing. We try to hold our events at upscale venues or restaurants here in the city to really make it easy for people to meet new people and network with other professionals. We color code our industries based on name tags, or we color code the industries based on name tags, making it easy for networkers at our events to identify their target industries, you know, and approach new contacts with confidence. We work together with local businesses to spotlight their new products and services at each event, and we also feature local charitable organizations at every event helping raise money for their organizations. So, in a nutshell, you know, you can X that part out, but that's great.
Good to hear. So what would you say has been the most vital skill you have learned being an entrepreneur so far?
You know what, Nathan, and you're probably familiar with this term with CEO, you know, is bootstrapping, you know, but I take it a step further and I'd really say technology bootstrapping. You know, this has been one of the most vital aspects of helping grow Network and Social. You know, I'm pretty lucky being that full-time career prior to Network and Social was technology consulting, you know, where I really got a good feel on what was available to startup businesses from a technology standpoint. You know, and I think it's vital for young entrepreneurs, you know, or anyone starting a business to understand what tools are available to them. You know, there are enterprise-type technology tools available now to small businesses at a fraction of the cost on what they used to be that can really evolutionize the way you start a business today. You know, and taking advantage of these tools really allowed Network and Social to get up off the ground, you know, for minimal upfront investment, which was amazing. You know, number two would be definitely social media now, you know, and I think as young entrepreneurs, we understand this more than anyone, you know, some of the power that this social media can have, you know, and if you understand the ways to leverage the different social media channels, it really allows you to reach more people business-wise than ever before, you know, and if you can do that effectively, there are real low-cost ways to spread the word about your name and reputation of the business. So I'd really say those would be the two most vital skills that I've picked up from an entrepreneurial aspect.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. So we want to thank you for agreeing to speak at the upcoming national conference this fall. What do you plan to speak about in general?
You know, obviously, some of my experiences, you know, in the last 2 years with Network and Social, you know, and I really wanted to break it down into 4 main areas, you know, and that's the importance of growing your personal network, not only as a professional, but at the collegiate level, effective networking techniques, really understanding ways to network effectively and make the most of your time, whether it be at an event, you know, or if you're going business to business. Building self-confidence as a professional, you know, and I honestly think this is a skill that constantly evolves, you know, but I'd really like to discuss some of the things that I've seen that can help build self-confidence, you know, and really help with entrepreneurs in their startup, you know, and taking an idea to concept. And then lastly, the Network and Social Entrepreneurial Events Program, you know, which we've launched at the collegiate level here. I'd really like to go over some of the experiences we had with the program, you know, and some of the plans for the 2015 school year with this different students attending.
Cool. Great. what's one of your main motives for speaking at events like the national conference?
You know what, I really feel like we have a responsibility, or I have a responsibility to serve as a mentor, and some of my experiences, I would have to say it as a young professional, can really resonate with some of the young professionals coming out of college and looking to start their own business. I'd really like to share my entrepreneurial experiences, some of the ups and downs I went through with starting my own business, and really serve, again, as a mentor to these aspiring young professionals. If I can help avoid any pitfall that came with me starting my business, I really feel like that would be very rewarding to help a young professional do, and any way I can help or mentor, is really my main motive with being involved with CEO program, and speaking at the national conference.
Yeah, definitely. That's great to hear that you're going to share that advice to us. So as you've witnessed and helped arrange for others within this business you've created, why do you think it's important for young entrepreneurs to, specifically in college, to network with others in their specific fields?
You know what, I really liked this question when I was reading it, and I would take this a step further to say the importance of networking with others, not only in your field. Hey, I'm a business background, I'm a civil engineer background, something yourself. My biggest regret from when I was in college, is mainly focusing and networking with people in the business school. It was not until I got out of college and started realizing that, in the real world, not everyone has a business background, so being able to effectively network with different backgrounds and learning that in college will be essential towards starting your own business, or, again, getting into a career and communicating, meeting new clients. Not everyone's going to have the same background as you, so it's important to be able to communicate at an effective level, with various backgrounds, and what's been amazing with Network and Social is on a monthly basis, we've been able to connect these professionals and allow them to really interact with, various career backgrounds and professionals, which has been amazing.
Definitely. Great. So looking back, when you started Network and Social, what has been the biggest mistake you think in trying to create it, and how have you since learned from it?
I don't want to say mistake, but definitely lessons learned. It was just when we started, an amazing concept, a ton of motivation moving forward, but just like anyone, it's natural to start benchmarking yourself, again, towards your competitors or towards others. I really feel this is a huge mistake for startups. It really wasn't until we started focusing on making Network and Social the best business that it could be, that we started seeing the success personally and financially that we wanted. I don't think it's very wise to benchmark where you're at, based on maybe a competitor that's been established for a number of years, because what you'll tend to do, is stray away from the core concepts that you wanted to focus on from an idea or a service, So I would say, again, try to make your business the best that it can be. Once you've been established, all right, maybe see some of the trends that your competitors are doing, but really don't focus on that from the beginning. And number two with that, which we didn't do a ton, but it's tough not to as a startup because, again, financial is very important and no matter what you do. So assessing your business success based on just financial gains, I think is not the right way to go. There's so many other things that go into starting a business, and you should be happy and be rewarded for some of the stuff you've achieved, even if you don't see that financial right from the start. The financial is going to come. Building a solid reputation and a brand that you're confident in, to me is way more important than seeing, those financial gains right away. Obviously you want those on the road, but, building up that solid concept first and really putting the energy to make that something you can, be passionate about, is way more important. So I wouldn't really assess success based on financial gains either right from the beginning. Those would be my two real biggest mistakes I think that we made, and looking back, it's something that you wish you could change, but, a lesson learned, so.
Right, definitely. That's good to hear that advice. I was always wondering about the financial aspect of starting a business, but I'm glad that you shared that.
Yeah, again, you want to see those returns, of course, but don't base your whole, if you go in with a new startup, just focus on how much money I can make. I honestly think you have more, you're more prone to fail, than not.
Right.
So I would suggest taking maybe the different approach.
Okay. Very nice. So I see you try to incorporate a charity raffle within your events to benefit local charity efforts. Was this your idea, and has it been pretty successful?
Yeah, Nathan, it was my idea. My partner Chad obviously was involved with it. It's something that him and I are very passionate about. There's a number of local charitable organizations here in Chicago and a ton of other major cities. We wanted to really incorporate some of these efforts into our events. Not only one, to educate, but two, to help raise money. If we've got 150 to 250 new professionals that we can get these charitable organizations in front of. Again, the raffle is great, but spreading the word about, their local efforts has just been rewarding as well. So it couldn't
Definitely.
it couldn't be more of a success. We've worked with, I believe, 13 different charities up to this point, and we've got a new one we're featuring next month here in September.
Awesome. That's good to hear, a business doing stuff for charities. And that's really,
very rewarding, so we're very
Definitely.
happy we've been able to stick with that and see success for a number of different other organizations.
That's great. That's great to hear. So what would you say is next for Network and Social?
Well, we have actually a very busy end of the year. As I mentioned earlier, we are launching our Houston and Orlando divisions in November of this year, and are already booked to host professional events. Obviously, we've got the CEO National Conference in Orlando in November as well. We're jump-starting our pilot program for the NSEE program with, I believe, 13 different schools. That'll have to be executed from now till the end of the year. And we start Washington, D.C. actually in next March. So very busy time, very amazing time for us, and we're very excited about it.
That's good to hear that you're expanding and going to keep doing what your business's goal is. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be more rewarding to bring the same concept to a different market, and again, helping people become more comfortable as networkers, has always been our goal, and, we hope to achieve it in these other markets as well.
Good. And I got one last question for you here. For all the young, aspiring entrepreneurs out there, including me, what would be your best piece of advice that you could give out?
Yeah, this was one of the harder questions, actually. We could probably go on for another 2 hours with this, but really what I wanted to do was break it down. As an aspiring entrepreneur, I think it's very important to determine if your idea or concept is really a hobby or a business, and for a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, I really think they may not understand the difference when they start, and oftentimes that may be the reason why they don't succeed. Although both concepts can be very rewarding, there's a vast difference between a hobby and a business. Hobbies to me are ideas that you can take the concept, and see them grow as you deem fit. If it stops becoming your passion, you can kind of lay off the gas and come back to it at a different time. Starting up a business is a whole new thing, and really it becomes, at least to me, an obsession, at a certain point. I mean, you go to bed thinking of new ideas on how to improve the business, and you wake up thinking of how you're going to bring them to concept. You really never stop thinking about it, which is amazing. So to me, it's one, kind of determine, if this concept or idea you have is something that you want to take to business and see grow, or if it's something more of a hobby that you're interested in, and I think if you understand the difference between the two, you may be able to avoid, I don't want to say failure, but not exceeding expectations, so that would be my advice is understand the two between, what you're doing. Both are very rewarding, there's just vast differences between the two concepts.
Good. Well, thanks for that advice. I'll definitely take that to heart, and I hope the other young aspiring entrepreneurs out there will do as well. So, well, that's all the questions I had for you, Stephen. And once again, this has been Nathan Brune interviewing Stephen Hooper from Network and Social. Stephen, thanks again for your time, and I'm excited to meet you in person at the CEO National Conference this fall. So,
I look forward to it as well, Nathan. Thank you for your time.